Oh hi. You're probably expecting this video to start off with some grand monologue about how great Destiny is or how amazing the community is. Well no, this game fucking sucks. I've wasted far too much of my life on this game that I will never get back, and this game has ruined me. I could have spent that time doing something more beneficial like studying or selling heroin. I hate this game is fucking terrible, and I will never ever go back to it. Although, it wasn't all bad. Destiny was released on September 9th, 2014, and it's a game that has changed my life, for better or for worse. Luckily, I've been sober for almost 6 years now, and with the game just turning 10 years old, I thought now would be the best time for me to reminisce and talk about how good Destiny used to be. The first game, not the second game, definitely not the second game. Now, I spent a lot of time playing Destiny 1, but even after all of Bungie's controversial decisions, how toxic the community has gotten, and all the hours I spent grinding this game becoming meaningless, it still has a special place in my heart. To understand why, I should probably give you all some context. It all started in 2015. I remember walking into GameStop to buy the new Xbox One after months of saving up. To my surprise, they had a deal where if you bought a new next-gen console, you can get any game with it for free. So I looked around and eventually saw Destiny. Now before then, I barely knew anything about Destiny. All I knew was that it was made by Bungie and Activision, the same people who made Halo and Call of Duty, but luckily, I was a fan of both of those games. And I remembered a lot of my friends talking about this game and how they've been playing it a lot lately. So I caved in and ended up making this my first Xbox One game. As soon as I got home, I immediately set up my new Xbox One, booted up Destiny for the first time, and well, the rest is history. I was immediately drawn into this game and loved everything about it. The world, the characters, the lore, the villains, the gameplay, the aesthetic, everything. Destiny introduced me to a whole new world and got me hooked onto the MMO genre. Now, when it came time to choose my class, I chose the Titan, mainly because I've always been the type of person to choose the tanky, bruiser, melee character archetype. In MapleStory, I chose the warrior class. In RuneScape, I was also a warrior who used melee weapons. In Pokemon, I'd always choose the fire/fighting starter. I think you get the point. While the hunter and warlock were cool, the Titan just spoke to me. I loved everything about this class. I loved his design, his armor sets, how he punched people for his melee, his double jump, his subclasses and supercharges. Everything about this class was perfect for me, and soon after, I became a Titan Master Race Supremacist. I remember playing through the first mission with so much excitement for what was to come next, but after breezing through the campaign in a couple of days, I was sort of left disappointed. I know everyone says this, but the campaign was pretty lackluster. While the lore of Destiny is fantastic and the cinematic cutscenes were fun, the story was all over the place. If someone were to ask me what Destiny's main story was, I don't know if I could even explain it to them. What do you want me to say? You get resurrected, fight your way through the Fallen, find an abandoned ship, and make your way to the tower. There you learn everything about the game, including the Traveler, Guardians, and the Darkness. Then you go back to Russia to fight more Fallen, then go to the moon and fight even more aliens called the Hive, then go to Venus and fight evil robots called the Vex. Oh, and there you meet an exo-stranger who is teased at the beginning of the game but has no real importance to the story. Then you go to the Reef and meet the Queen and her brother, then go to Mars and fight even bigger aliens called the Cabal, and then fight the Vex again and destroy a black goop heart of something. Frankly, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I didn't care. I was so infatuated by the world of this game that everything else felt obsolete. I even engrossed myself with Destiny PD articles and videos just to learn more about the lore. Looking back, I can definitely appreciate what Bungie was trying to do with Destiny. While the story isn't great and felt like they were just trying to introduce as many things as possible, it did a good job at familiarizing us with this world and building for the future, and I can appreciate what they were trying to do. Now, my friends had warned me ahead of time that the campaign wasn't that good, but the real fun part was the post-game. There were so many things to do in Destiny besides the main story. Crucible allowed you to fight against other players in a Halo/Call of Duty style PvP game mode. This is where I spent most of my time, and I finally remember a lot of great maps like Twilight Gap, Burning Shrine, and Pantheon. Vanguard Strike allowed you to go on 3-player missions that let you earn better loot, explore different parts of planets, and learn more about the lore. I especially remember replaying the Devil's Lair a lot, but above all else were the raids. 6-player activities that would test your fireteam's teamwork by completing puzzles and fighting numerous bosses to earn better loot. Vault of Glass was the first raid introduced, and it was every player's goal to beat it, as it had the best rewards. My friends and I would often group up to try and beat it, but most of the time, we'd rarely get past the Templar raid boss and just goof around, but it was still easily the best part of Destiny. For me, I got into Destiny a bit later than most people. I got it right after the 2 expansion packs were released, The Dark Below and House of Wolves, so I had plenty of catching up to do. Compared to most players who started at launch, I was spoiled with what was available to me. The endgame content and expansion pass added a bunch of new features to the base game that definitely helped Destiny become what it is today. I finally remember so many things from the first year of Destiny. I remember hearing the amazing main menu theme play every time I booted up the game. No matter how eager I was to play, I always let the music play until those horns came in. I remember the old tower and how the back area would open up during special events. My friends and I would often spend a lot of our time here waiting for our other friends to get on, so this place gives me a lot of nostalgia. I remember my friends and I parkouring around the tower, trying to get on top of the vaults, climbing up the tree, bumping the purple ball around the tower, playing hide and seek with our HUDs off, interacting with all the NPCs in the hangar and Vanguard Hall, all the different factions like Dead Orbit, New Monarchy, and Future War Cult, and especially dancing with other random players. I even met a couple friends through Destiny that I would eventually meet in real life and still talk to this day, all because I danced with them in the tower. I remember my friends and I constantly replaying Crota's End, as it was our favorite raid because it was much simpler than Vaulted Glass and had cooler rewards, doing the Prison of Elders and getting fucked over by Skolass, the old light level system and how it capped at 34, the infamous loot cave and grinding for exotic engrams, eagerly running through a hole only to get trolled by the bastard and be given a useless weapon or armor piece that wasn't even the same rarity as intended, constantly running out of special and heavy ammo and having to buy ammo synthesis, riding my Sparrow across different planets to collect materials just so I can upgrade my weapons. I even looked up YouTube videos on the best farming routes just to harvest them faster, competing in Iron Banner whenever it used to be good, participating in the Trials of Osiris just to try and reach the infamous lighthouse, how broken the Galahorn and Thorn were, finding Xur every Friday to see what new exotics he was selling that weekend, Peter Dinklage's old ghost voice before they recasted him, rest in peace Dinklebot, PlayStation getting a shit ton of exclusive content while us Xbox players were given nothing, dying in a Nightfall or raid and having my Warlock teammate self-resurrect himself to save the day, sitting in orbit, browsing through the planet select screen, and listening to the beautiful soundtrack composed by Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore. Looking back, the first year of Destiny was a bit rough, but it's still probably my favorite era of Destiny due to how new it felt and all the memories I made with my friends during this time. While I'm still kinda bummed that I wasn't able to play Destiny whenever it first released, I'm still grateful that I was able to experience this game during this time. However, everything would change with the release of their next expansion pack. The Taken King was released on September 15th, 2015. And it changed everything. This DLC evolved Destiny, left an everlasting legacy, and had a big impact on my life. We were introduced to a new enemy type, the Taken, learned more about Crota's father, Oryx, and gained access to the Dreadnought, a whole new area for us to explore. For most people, this is when they got back into the game. This expansion pack gave Destiny a second chance, something that most games don't get. My friends and I were so excited for this DLC. As soon as I saw the trailer, I immediately pre-ordered it. I even got a free poster from the same GameStop I first bought Destiny from that I still have hanging on my wall to this day. By then, everyone at my school played Destiny, so seeing all my classmates get excited over this DLC made me even more hyped. On the day The Taken King was released, my friends and I woke up at 5 AM just to be able to play the game before school. Some of my friends even skipped school that day, just to play before the rest of us. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to load in because there was a queue of like 20,000 people, so I had to wait until after school to play. But as soon as I got home and saw that they changed the main menu theme, I knew they meant business. Everything about The Taken King was amazing. The campaign felt more complete and told a meaningful story. It had beautiful cinematic cutscenes where we finally saw the personalities of all the NPCs we've come to know and love, like Zavala, Amanda Holiday, and especially Kate 6. They introduced 3 new subclasses, Night Stalker for Hunters, Stormcaller for Warlocks, and Sunbreaker for Titans. And they even changed the light level system, so now the max light level was 320 and your XP level would cap at 40. Year 2 is probably when I grinded Destiny the most, and it has created countless memories for me. I remember patrolling around the Dreadnought, collecting Hadium Flakes, and participating in the Court of Oryx with other random players, completing exotic quests to unlock new weapons like the new Elemental Swords and the Touch of Malice, all the new limited time events like Festival of the Lost for Halloween, Crimson Days for Valentine's, and especially Sparrow Racing League. My friends and I played SRL every day during its limited time, and it was by far my favorite mode in the game. All the new Crucible maps and strikes. However, there was one strike in particular that I replayed the most and still remember to this day. The Sunless Cell was the strike I grinded the most during The Taken King, and it has branded its memory into my head. I spent months constantly replaying this strike, all for the Darkblade helm. This is my favorite helmet in the game, and I was determined to get it. Throughout Destiny, I've always swapped between different helmets and valued the look of one over its stats, but as soon as I saw the Darkblade helm for the first time, I knew I had to have it. I loved everything about this helmet, the design, the story behind it, and I've always wanted my own signature helmet, so I guess you can say this helmet was my Destiny. Get it? Because, I hate my life. With any free time I had, I would constantly grind the strike and hope that the helmet would drop from All Cool, the Dark Blade. I probably ran through the strike hundreds if not thousands of times, with no luck. It even became a running joke between me and my friends because all my friends got the helmet before me and I get pissed at them because they would dismantle it in front of me. It took me almost half a year for me to finally get this helmet, but as soon as I got it, I couldn't hold back my excitement. This was probably a top 5 moment in my life and I have absolutely no regrets. Well, maybe a couple. However, with all the new features they added in the Taken King, there was one thing they added that truly changed Destiny forever. King's Fall was the raid that changed Destiny forever, and it was the pinnacle of what a raid could be. While Vault of Glass and Crota's End introduced and evolved raids, King's Fall perfected it. It was much longer, way more intense, required even more teamwork, and featured even more boss battles and jump puzzles. This was the raid my friends and I spent the most time on in Destiny 1, and I love everything about this raid. Spawning in the Hall of Souls, picking up the relics, and slamming them into the statues to open up the portal. The ship jump puzzle. This is where we constantly messed up due to either one of us jumping onto the wrong ship or forgetting the master subclass's agility, but it was probably my favorite section. The totems, where we had to carefully rotate between 3 different plates in a clockwork fashion, defending plates, and shooting knights and wizards. And if one person died, everyone had to wipe and that person would get flamed to oblivion. The War Priest, where we had to follow the glyph sequence, grab the brand claimer, and kill the War Priest in less than 4 tries before the Oculus kills us. Making our way through the maze where my friends and I would occasionally fall into the pits of doom. Fighting Golgorov where we'd have to dodge his laser beams, pop bubbles, and shoot his stomach with our black spindles in order to kill him. Going through the infamous dick wall jump puzzle where pistons would push out of the walls, occasionally flinging our bodies across the map. We never actually did it properly. We just abused the sword glitch and climb up the side of the walls to get past this part. But seeing our friends getting flung across the map were some of the funniest moments we had during this raid. Entering the final room, where we had to first kill Oryx's twin daughters because might as well since we already killed his son, and finally taking on a giant version of Oryx, where we had to jump onto 4 different platforms in a clockwise order, have one person jump on the floating rocks and grab the brand claimer, kill all the light eater ogres and knights, detonate all the bombs at the same time, and shoot Oryx in his chest until we eventually defeat him and watch his corpse float off into space. And if he messed up at any time, we'd have to wipe and restart the entire thing. Doing this raid every weekend with my friends was the highlight of my freshman year of high school, and it truly tested our friendships. Maybe that's why I couldn't get a girlfriend. It even made some of us hate each other due to us having to kick some people out because there weren't enough spots, or getting fed up with someone messing up constantly. This DLC changed my life and made Destiny one of my favorite games of all time. But eventually, all good things must come to an end. Destiny never really felt the same after the Taken King. Their next DLC, Rise of Iron, had very big shoes to fill and it just didn't compare to the Taken King. While Wrath of the Machine was fun, and learning more about the Iron Lords was intriguing, it wasn't as impactful. And with Bungie following the tradition of making a random sequel to a game that didn't need one, it started a downwards trend. Destiny 2 was not good. While it had better graphics and a cohesive story, it felt like a downgrade from Destiny 1 and I was kinda let down by it. We were forced to start from scratch again, all of our weapons and armor from Destiny 1 were unavailable, and worst of all, we weren't able to revisit our favorite planets or raids anymore. No more Old Tower, no more Dreadnought, no more King's Fall, no more Darkblade Helm. Everything was new, and the game just didn't feel the same. The new social spaces didn't come close to the Old Tower, the new evolved subclasses didn't bring the same hype as when they were first introduced in the Taken King, and the new raid Leviathan was easily one of the worst raids Destiny has ever introduced. I tried giving Destiny 2 a proper chance. I played through the expansion pass, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind, but stopped after Forsaken. For me, the game felt worse than Destiny 1. Crucible was bad, as it went from 6v6 to 4v4, making it feel slower and less fun. The post-game and exotic quests weren't as fulfilling, and I got tired of having to constantly grind until eventually, I stopped playing Destiny entirely. I quit Destiny in 2018 and started to enjoy my life again. Surprising, I know. I never got back into Destiny after Forsaken, and there's a few reasons as to why. One thing to mention about Destiny is that once you stop playing, it's incredibly difficult to get back into it. If you take a break or miss a DLC, you couldn't do anything until you bought the DLC, completed every story mission, and were at the appropriate light level. Another reason why I quit was because I just didn't enjoy the grind anymore. With Bungie making us start from scratch again in Destiny 2, it felt like all my time and hard work in Destiny 1 meant nothing. And it also made it hard to continue knowing that everything I do would be for nothing in a couple of months when the next expansion pack comes out. And lastly, it started to have a negative effect on my life. I had to sacrifice so much time for this game and it started to feel more like a chore than a fun hobby. Instead of hanging out with friends or playing other games I enjoyed, I'd have to constantly grind strikes and missions just to increase my light level for me to participate in raids and nightfalls. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to play with my friends. This was the main reason why I never got back into Destiny 2, as I hated keeping up with the game and it eventually led me to disliking story-driven games and turn over to more competitive games like Overwatch and League of Legends. My friends still kept playing playing Destiny 2 in the meantime, and have even said it's gotten better with the Witch Queen and Final Shape DLCs. And I've also met other people who've only played Destiny 2 and said they've enjoyed it. However, nothing beats Destiny 1. I miss running around the old tower, waiting for all my friends to get on after school to run this week's Nightfall or raid. Now, I don't even know what Destiny is anymore. Everything is different, there's so many new features that I haven't caught up with, and the story has expanded way past what I ever expected. Even though I miss Destiny 1, I can never play this game again. This game had a stranglehold on my life, gave me insight on what addiction could feel like, and I'm glad I was able to quit. But even still, Destiny will always have a special place in my heart. I truly did love this game, and I'm sure many others did too. But things change. We change. I'm grateful that I was able to experience this game when I did, and hope someday that there will be another game that brings me this much joy again.